In the world of Battletech, very rarely do replacements work out. What I mean to say is, if one looks at the Jägermech, it is often not considered a true or good replacement for the Rifleman. Only by circumstance is it not the case with this creation of Diplan mech yards, built to replace the tried and tested Locust, which of course is to say that today we are going to be talking about the Mongoose. A light mech weighing in at 25 tons, the Mongoose was built with the idea in mind that it could outperform and overtake the Locust in the realm of ground-based recon. When first introduced in 2660, this mech became an all-star among recon mech warriors of the SLDF, seemingly overnight, and was of course extremely popular among light lance commanders. Though it didn't use the whole battery of advanced Star League technologies, it does earn back enough weight, even fractionally, to overtake or match its older rival in almost every category. What was quickly found was it could go even beyond a mere reconnaissance mech. Due to the advanced electronics on board and other valued features, the Mongoose would rapidly be upgraded from a glorified scout to an extremely common mount for any light mech company commander, becoming a coordinator of other fast assets in the perilous, high-speed battles and conditions that light forces often find themselves in. This elevation meant that instead of becoming a line unit, eventually to replace the Locust, the Mongoose became a command mech, and one in high demand. For nearly 1 century it would be produced and procured by the SLDF or even the House forces, but they would never be able to replace the Locust with this design as a result of it essentially being shifted in tasks on the battlefield, and because it was simply too in demand and too little was being produced. The MON-66 would be the primary variant of the Mongoose produced by the Star League, and is the unit which built the incredible reputation for this 25-ton Maverick. To gain its legendary mobility, the 66 would come installed with a Nissan 200 Fusion standard engine, giving it an immense speed of almost 130 km per hour, which translates into 12 movement points for the tabletop game. With this intense mobility at its disposal, it can do as it was designed: find relevant data, convey it, and either move on to another location or make a mad rush to get out of trouble. This gives the Mongoose, of course, options, unless it's contained by dense terrain features that would hinder its incredible movement by too much. This configuration of the Mongoose comes with 10 stock heatsinks, which is just enough to allow it to use its full array of weapons while going into a slightly overheated state. In offensive systems, the MON shows its value for the era it was made, and for the weight that it is. Coming with 3 Sorenstein medium lasers, it has more punch than its lighter counterparts in the Thorn, Stinger, Wasp, Locust, and others, while trading shots with its counterpart, the Commando, albeit in a different style of shooting. Backing this up is a single Starflash plus small laser, just in case it needs that extra piece of firepower for battles that get a bit too close for comfort. This is an impressive amount of firepower for a 25-ton mech, though it is noteworthy that the Mongoose doesn't have diverse fighting abilities and is locked into close range, which is fine in this instance given its weight class and its movement profile. The advanced electronics it has on board come as a result of a Beagle active probe, giving it the ability to potentially break through complex camouflage and electronic countermeasures in terms of its sensory input for the mech. It also is what provides the Mongoose with the necessarily powerful onboard computers in order to work with its very potent piece of technology. To conclude our examination of the Mongoose's physical properties, the 66 is not only fast on its feet, giving it a more than adequate defense, but it is very well protected in the realm of armor. Supporting 5 full tons of advanced ferrofibrous armor, this 25-tonner is more durable than one might imagine, being able to take hits other light mechs could only dream of coming out of in a condition that could be repaired, rather than in a condition to be scrapped. This also boosts its commander role, as it means it's more survivable for the commander of any formation. To help make all of this possible, including the entire features listed so far, the 66 has an endo-steel internal structure. For a 25-ton mech, the Mongoose does more than the package details read as, prior to the Star League picking it up. It's got a powerful onboard computer for the commander to use, as a result of his electronic systems. It has a decent array of short-range firepower, putting it ahead of most of its peers in the same weight bracket. It is also as armored as a Firestarter, a 35-ton light mech which is often in a much more combat-oriented role, and it has the overall raw speed to keep up with the Locust or even the Cicada. In fact, it moves as fast as the Cicada, outguns it, and outarmors it, and that is a mech that weighs 40 tons. This is almost too much light mech to handle for a multitude of its would-be opponents, in fact. But the Star League would end, and the facilities that built the Mongoose would be destroyed in the fighting of the Succession Wars. By the end of the Third Succession War, in fact, only a handful remained in operation, and none had any of their advanced components remaining. Comstar would be the only force to hold onto the legacy of this mech in the Inner Sphere in its true form, and the Comguard would use it thoroughly. And with that, let's begin looking into the alternative variants of the Mongoose from the centuries since it was originally developed. Introduced in the Succession Wars as being the official refit configuration of the 66, the MON-67 doesn't lose much in terms of its direct combat ability. Its engines and weapons are the same, and it almost has as much armor. What the Mongoose loses is its advanced electronic systems, which reduces its abilities as a true command mech for light formations, and makes its reconnaissance abilities far more muted. Despite receiving an official designation, really, the MON-67 is just a desperate attempt to keep the dwindling stocks of Mongooses from vanishing altogether, which did work up until the discovery of the Helm Memory Core, where afterwards production would one day resume. The MON-66B, or the Royal variant for the Star League, is a bit of a mixed unit. It employs an XL engine and employs double heat sinks, and does all this to install a single ER large laser into the vehicle. While this is a net firepower benefit, it doesn't necessarily help the Mongoose that much, unless it's going to act as a sniper, which is almost outside of the original recon role. Worse, it becomes more fragile, meaning that should it lose a torso, or take critical hits in a side torso, its effectiveness can be rapidly degraded, or the machine can be destroyed outright. While this is not awful, this mech has more trade-offs than some might see at a first glance. The Royal units don't always get the best, it would seem. The final design we'll be talking about today is the bleeding edge of the Mongoose's refits, coming during the Dark Ages, namely the MON-96. While its top speed is slower, going at 120 km per hour, it does install a supercharger, increasing its overall maximum performance in bursts to an immense 160 km per hour. It replaces out its medium lasers for ER medium lasers, and trades out its small laser for an ER small laser, all while of course installing double heat sinks. Finally, it has a newer, more advanced active probe, the Bloodhound, and makes use of heavy ferro armor plating. This is a truly dangerous recon machine for the new era of warfare. The Mongoose is a machine some may overlook at first glance, seeing it only as a 25-ton mech, but they should be wary of this small carnivore named Light Mech. Whether it be as the seat of a light commander, or as a vehicle used to flank and stab heavy forces in the back during larger battles, or to simply be a scout, revealing enemy positions before tracking back to friendly lines, the Mongoose is a well-armored, reasonably armed, fast mech in all of its forms, and deserves respect when squaring off against them in the field. It is the master and commander of lights. In this video, and others, I've used several concept art pieces from one of the contractors who works on Battletech, namely Bishop Steiner from Damaged Ink Studios. Many of the new redesigns people have seen, including the Mongoose, have been his creations or he has had a part in their creation. He also has a series of posts on his Patreon, which you will find linked in the description of this video, which give people an idea of where the cockpits are on the models he's had a hand in. I'd recommend checking it out. Thank you for joining me here today. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. There is new content on this channel very frequently, and I appreciate your support. Also, a huge thank you to the YouTube members who support this channel, as these videos are only possible because of viewers like you. With that, I will catch everyone in the comment section below.